Hey, Oyupa. I am here just to chat. Sorry if my voice sounds a little scratchy. I've been sick for like 2 weeks now. Just a cold, nothing else than that. I had no fever, sorry, or anything like that. So it's just mainly all I have left is just this cough. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about what I've been observing here in Sweden. Um, kind of give you what I see a little bit more of pertaining to like the COVID and stuff like that. Um, since I've come back from the United States, I now wear a moon quid or a face mask when I go to like the pharmacy or the grocery store. Um, I pretty much do all the shopping for the family. My husband just goes to work and comes home, goes for a walk or whatever, but he doesn't do any of the shopping because he's afraid of the whole COVID thing. And I will wear a mask, so I don't mind wearing a mask. I have seen more people in the stores here in Sweden wearing masks. Um, Before, you didn't see really anybody wearing masks. Like before I went to America, it was maybe one or two people with masks. But since I've come back, I see more and more people with them on. And the age range is usually, from what I see, I haven't seen any like younger people with masks, but I've seen um, primarily older people with masks and middle-aged people with masks. Um, I think because of maybe the new variant that has come out and that is everywhere, that spreads faster. I think that maybe that's why people are wearing masks. And of course, they see the rest of the world wearing masks. Here in Sweden, it's not mandatory to wear a mask, although if you go on the train or the bus, it's, I don't know if it's mandatory or it's just highly recommended to wear a mask because there is more people. What they have changed to is on your phone, you have an app, and you can buy your train ticket or your bus ticket on the app on your phone. And they have a new function where it tells you like the volume of people traveling at that time. Um, if you wanted to say you wanted to take the train today at 1 o'clock, you could look and see what the estimated volume will be or what the volume is right now um, on the train or the bus, which is pretty cool. I haven't, the only time I took a train was when I came back from the United States. I took a train from Kastrup to um, the southern part of Sweden, Malmo. And everybody, not everybody, I can't say everybody had masks on, but a lot of people had masks on. You're supposed to wear them, but of course it's up to you. Um, but I like I said, I have seen more people wearing them than I did a month ago. It's nowhere near like when I was in the United States. Everybody had them on for the most part. That I saw, like when I went to the stores and stuff like that, I did hear that when, like for example, the whole time I was in Florida, I wouldn't go to Walmart because there was everybody was talking about how the people at Walmart didn't care and they would go in and take off their mask or they wouldn't wear a mask, and the employees didn't have the right to tell them to put the mask back on. And you'd see like things on TV where people were getting into fights and stuff for not, like one person didn't have a mask on, the other person told them to put a mask on, and they, it caused fights and things like that. And so I just didn't want to risk going into Walmart, taking my son that doesn't have a mask, or taking my mother who's in the risk group. So I just stayed out of Walmart. So I wonder if they are going to lose any money for the fact that they aren't implementing people to have a mask on. I know, like in other stores, when I was in the United States, for example, pretty much all of the other stores, like Marshalls, for example. Marshalls is a clothing store. They sell like household goods too. I don't know what I'd compare it to here in Sweden. It's I don't know. They sell like name brand clothing, like Calvin Klein, Michael Kors, and name brand purses and shoes and stuff like that. Um, but it's all last season, so it's half the price of what you pay if it was this season. So it's discounted and it's really good. But as soon as you walk into, like, for example, that store, there's employees standing in front. So before you can even go any further, they're standing there, watching to see if you have a mask on. And if you don't have a mask on, you can't go any further. Or some places will give you a mask if they have them. That was for a lot of stores, like for that particular store. Target, for example, they didn't have people watching you, but everybody had a mask on in there. That when I went in there, they do have hand sanitizer when you first walk in the door, and different things that you can spray on the carts to clean them. That if you're going to push stuff and put it in your cart to buy. So it was pretty good there. I know that in the movie theater was still closed. You couldn't go to the movies or anything like that. When you went to a restaurant in the United States, we went to a restaurant. I think we went to a sit-down restaurant 3 times the whole 3 weeks I was there. And when you first enter the restaurant, you have to have, maybe it was 4 times. Anyways, it's just the same. When you walk into the restaurant, you have to have the mask on. And then when you're seated, you can take the mask off. I've seen some people actually leave their mask on until their food got there, and then they would eat, and then they would put their mask back on. Other people would take their mask off as soon as they sat down, but if you had to get up to go to the bathroom or anything like that, you had to put your mask back on to move around the restaurant. I know they were having a lot of problems at bars for New Year's Eve in Tampa because there were so many people in a small spot, and they figured that they were, drinking, that they didn't have to have a mask. Maybe they weren't drinking, maybe they were just chatting and they were with their friends. And I know they had a big problem with that, and a lot of people, like bars and stuff like that, got in trouble and fined, and just different things happened because of the fact that they weren't implementing the keep your distance and the masks and things like that, because it's just going to spread more if you don't do that. I know that, sorry for my hair, it's crazy. I don't know what the hell's going on up there. Anyways, it was interesting to kind of see the 2 different perspectives. I've been in Sweden, primarily all 2020 since COVID started, and we don't wear masks, and it was just a different perspective. And then when I went to the United States and I saw another perspective, it was interesting. When I first got there, I was pretty nervous. I didn't know what to expect or how things were going to go. I knew that my trip was going to be completely different than anything I've ever experienced before, because I wasn't used to wearing a mask, although you get used to it pretty quickly because you have to have it no matter where. If you're just going to go and buy anything, a soda, an energy drink, you have to have a mask on. So it was, and there's a lot of the signs on the doors that says you cannot enter without a mask. So it was, and all the cashiers, everybody had masks on. It wasn't just like the people coming in. Everybody had them on. So it was interesting to see the 2 different perspectives, the 2 different, I guess, extremes, or however you want to call it, from being in Sweden and then going to the United States and seeing what it was like there. I also seen people driving with the mask on. I saw people walking in parks with the mask on, walking in the neighborhood with the mask on. That wasn't mandatory. Unless you're like we went to this nature park one day, And when you're walking around the nature park, you don't have to have the mask on unless there's like a lot of people. I think my mom would put hers on just because she's in the risk group. Um, but you didn't have to have it on when you're out in the free Luft, the air, the nature park. But then there was like this small science center that we all went into and like looked at animals and things. In there, you had to have your mask on. And then you could, when you left, you could take it off. But it was really interesting. It was kind of like one of those on off, on off, on off, on off, on off the whole time. I just pretty much had one in my pocket the whole time, one in my purse, one on the stroller. I had it with me all the time, and you get used to it, like I said, pretty quickly. It didn't really bother me there, but what was hard was the 11-hour flight to the United States and having to wear the mask for 11 hours. That was kind of rough. And then also flying back to Europe, having the mask on for the whole entire duration. That was kind of rough. But you cheated. I would go to the bathroom. I just like rip off my mask and be like, oh, I can finally breathe and cool off a little bit because it gets hot under the mask. But other than that, it was okay. Now, like I said, whenever I go out, I put a mask on just to be. I don't want to bring anything home. I mean, I know I'm already sick. But I got sick from my son, not from being out there. But I assume he got sick at school. I don't know where he got sick, but he's much better now. It's just me. I always have it always kind of lingers on me for a longer period of time because of my Crohn's disease. But it is what it is. But it was interesting, like I said, to see the two different ways. I mean, I did go into like my favorite little coffee shop. It's not like a coffee. It's really popular in Florida, and that's also more. It's probably becoming popular around the United States. But it's called a kava bar. They serve kava and kratom and different teas and drinks and coffees, and I would drink kratom, which is like a pain relief opiate tea type of thing, and it helps with my Crohn's. So I would go in that cafe quite often, just not too often because I didn't want to be in too many places. I think I went in there like 3 times, but my brother would go there more often and pick me up things. But when I would go in there, sometimes people had masks on, sometimes people didn't. I often keep my mask on just because I didn't want to bring anything home to my mom, who was in the risk group, and I was staying with my mother. But they were pretty distant. It was a pretty big cafe, so it's not like you're on top of each other. So that was nice. So it really depends on where you are and where you're going, what you're doing. We walked around downtown area, and there were some people that had masks on when they were walking around. Some people didn't. I think it's just how you feel and what you want to do. Whether it's mandatory or not, people are going to do what they want to do especially when they're not used to doing that their whole life. Nobody's used to wearing a mask their whole life, and now they have to. I wonder how long it'll go on like this, and I also wonder if it's like the new norm, if it's the new thing that we're just going to have to live with. I saw a thing the other day on the news, and they were talking about is 2 masks better than 1. Anybody out there that wears masks, do you wear 2 masks or do you wear 1? I just wear 1. I haven't really found a reason to wear 2 yet, but I know it's becoming more popular to wear 2. I don't know if I see the point, but maybe somebody can tell me. It's interesting though to see. I mean, how many layers are we gonna have before we can breathe, or how many layers are we gonna have before? I mean, I think at this point it's inevitable, and that if you're gonna catch it, you're gonna catch it. And I know it's really wonderful. It's really good to be. Not wonderful. It's really good to be cautious and really good to be just like look out for yourself and the fellow people around you. But I don't know how to hide from it, or how to not. You don't know. I mean, it's not like you could. It's not something you can see. It's not something that you can, really stay away from. I mean, you have to go to the grocery store. You have to buy food. You have to go to the pharmacy. You have to buy, whatever. You have to buy clothes. You have to do this, whatever. You can only do so much online. So, I wonder how long it's going to be with us. I keep hearing about these new variants. They talked about one in Brazil that's like scaring even the scientists, because it's mutating and it's moving and they don't understand, and it's I think that's yeah, I don't know what to think anymore. If that makes any sense, I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, before I went to the United States, we bought travel insurance that covered for COVID, because my husband was so scared, like, if you get sick in the United States, the bill's going to be astronomical because you don't have insurance. So we had to buy travel insurance before I left, and it was nice that it covered for the COVID, and it cost, I think it was like 1300 kronor, which is like maybe like $120 for me and my son for the 3 weeks that we were there for the travel insurance. And luckily, we didn't have to use it. We didn't get sick or anything like that, so that was really great. But I know, like, it's really good to have, especially like right now with COVID, that you don't want to get sick and have to go to the hospital, for one, because there's no beds, and for two, it's so expensive, at least in the United States. Here in Sweden, when I was in the United States, they said that they were running out of beds and they were having to bring people. I think it was like Denmark or something like that, because they were just running out of room. And that was just crazy. It's scary. So I pray and I hope that this COVID thing ends, because it's And it's funny, because I'm going to school to be a nurse, and it doesn't scare me to where, like, oh, I don't want to be a nurse anymore. But it just makes me feel like I need to do it faster so that I can go out there and help more people as much as I can. If that makes sense. But anyways, I am going to stop talking now, because I have class soon. If you have any insight or any opinion or what you think about the masks, are you wearing one here in Sweden? Are you not wearing one? Should we be wearing them? I mean, what's your opinion? Let me know in the comments below. I will talk to you guys later. Happy Friday. It is Friday. We have sun. Woo! TGIF, as we say in the United States. Thank goodness it's Friday. And I will see you guys again soon. Hej då allihopa!